Hello and welcome to another peaceful journey through history. Tonight, we're going to step back in time, far back, to a place where the Nile River flows gently through golden desert sands, where palm trees sway in warm evening breezes, and where life moved at a rhythm as old as civilization itself. Take a moment to settle in. Let your shoulders relax, let your breathing slow. Tonight, we're visiting an ancient Egyptian village, not the grand temples or royal palaces you might imagine, but a simple, quiet community where ordinary people lived extraordinary lives along the life-giving waters of the Nile. Close your eyes if you'd like and let your mind drift back over 4,000 years to a time when the world was quieter, simpler, and connected to the natural rhythms of river and season. We'll walk together through dusty pathways between mud-brick homes, listen to the gentle lapping of water against reed boats, and discover what it truly felt like to wake up, work, eat, and dream in this ancient place. Let the stress of your day fade away as we explore together. There's no rush, no urgency here. Just the slow, peaceful flow of life as it was lived so long ago. Imagine waking up in this ancient village as the first soft light of dawn touches the eastern horizon. The air is cool and sweet, carrying the scent of the river and the faintest hint of baking bread from somewhere nearby. You lie on a simple reed mat, perhaps covered with a linen sheet that feels soft against your skin, woven by hands in your own household. There are no alarm clocks here, no jarring sounds to pull you from sleep. Instead, you wake naturally to the gentle sounds of the village stirring to life. You might hear the soft lowing of cattle being led to drink at the river's edge, or the quiet murmur of voices as your neighbors begin their day. The roosters crow, but even they seem gentler here, their calls mixing with the morning songs of ibis birds waiting in the shallows. Your home is simple but comfortable, built from mud bricks that keep the interior cool during the heat of the day and warm during the cooler desert nights. The walls are thick and solid, and small windows near the ceiling let in light while keeping out the dust and wind. The floor might be packed earth or simple stone, swept clean each day and sometimes decorated with painted designs or scattered with sweet-smelling herbs. As you rise from your sleeping mat, you might step out onto your flat rooftop, a space used for drying grain, storing household items, and enjoying the evening breezes. From here, you can see across your entire village, the geometric patterns of small houses and courtyards, the dark green line of vegetation that marks the Nile's path, and beyond that, the endless golden desert stretching to the horizon. The rhythm of morning in an ancient Egyptian village follows patterns worn smooth by countless generations. Water is precious here, drawn from the Nile in large clay jars and carried back to the village by strong arms and steady feet. You might begin your day by washing your face and hands with cool river water, using natron salt to clean your teeth, and applying a bit of kohl around your eyes to protect them from the desert glare. Breakfast is simple but nourishing. Perhaps you share flatbread with your family, bread baked in outdoor ovens that fill the air with warm, yeasty scents. There might be dates from the palm trees, sweet and chewy, or figs if the season is right. Beer is common here, but not like you might think. It's thick and nutritious, more like liquid bread than the clear beverages of modern times. Even children drink a light version, as it's often safer than water and provides needed calories for the day's work. The clothing is practical and comfortable, made from linen that grows in the fields fed by the Nile's annual flood. The wealthy might wear finely woven white linen, soft as silk, while working people wear coarser but still comfortable cloth. Jewelry is simple but beautiful, perhaps a string of blue faience beads, or small amulets worn for protection and good fortune. As the sun climbs higher, casting longer shadows between the houses, the village fills with the quiet sounds of daily life beginning. Women emerge from their homes carrying water jars, their movements graceful and practiced. Children play in the dusty courtyards, their laughter mixing with the sounds of animals and the distant rhythm of someone grinding grain. Work in the village flows with the natural rhythms of the day and season. As the morning progresses, people move toward their various tasks with the unhurried pace of those who know their work well and have time to do it properly. In the fields beyond the village, farmers tend to crops that have grown in the same soil for thousands of years. They plant wheat and barley, onions and leeks, beans and lentils. The work is done mostly by hand, with simple tools that feel comfortable in weathered palms. Wooden hoes, sickles, and baskets woven from palm fronds. The Nile's yearly flood makes this agriculture possible, covering the land with rich, dark silt that nourishes everything that grows. When the flood waters recede, they leave behind a landscape transformed, ready for planting. The farmers work together, helping each other with the larger tasks, sharing knowledge passed down from their fathers and grandfathers. Within the village itself, other work continues at its own steady pace. Potters shape clay vessels with skilled hands, their wheels turning slowly, creating the jars and bowls that every household needs. The clay comes from the riverbank, mixed with straw and shaped while still cool from the morning air. Weavers work at their looms, the shuttle passing back and forth with hypnotic regularity, creating the linen cloth that everyone wears. The flax plants are grown locally, harvested, dried, and processed into thread that feels smooth and strong. The sound of weaving is peaceful, a soft, rhythmic thumping that seems to echo the heartbeat of the village itself. Carpenters work with wood that has traveled far to reach this desert place, cedar from distant mountains, ebony from lands far to the south. They craft furniture, tools, and boats with careful attention to detail, knowing that their work must last and serve well in this environment where materials are precious. The Nile River is the heartbeat of village life, providing everything needed for survival and prosperity. Its presence shapes every aspect of daily existence, from the timing of agricultural work to the rhythm of transportation and trade. Along the riverbank, fishermen work with nets and lines that have been used for generations. They know the water intimately, where the fish gather at different times of day, how to read the subtle currents and changes in water level. Their boats are simple but perfectly designed, made from papyrus reeds bound together and sealed with pitch. These boats glide silently through the water, disturbing neither fish nor the peace of the river. The catch provides protein for village meals, fish that are eaten fresh or dried in the sun for later use. Nothing is wasted here. Even fish bones are saved to feed the village cats, those sacred animals who help control mice and rats in the grain stores. Women come to the river's edge to wash clothing, kneeling on the smooth stones worn by countless hands and knees. They work the linen garments in the flowing water, using soap made from animal fat and ash, then spread the clean cloth on bushes to dry in the warm air. The work becomes social time, a chance to share news and stories while hands stay busy with familiar tasks. Children learn to swim in the quieter backwaters where the current is gentle and parents can watch from nearby. They play games that involve diving for pebbles or seeing who can hold their breath longest. The water is their playground, but they also learn to respect its power and understand its moods. Boats regularly pass the village, carrying goods and people between settlements up and down the river. These might be trading vessels loaded with pottery or grain, or passenger boats carrying officials or merchants. The villagers often stop their work to watch these boats pass, perhaps recognizing friends or relatives or simply enjoying the sight of white sails against the blue sky. As the sun reaches its peak, the village settles into the quiet rhythm of midday rest. The heat becomes intense, and wise people know to seek shade and move slowly during these hours. This is not a time for heavy work, but for quiet activities and rest. In the coolest rooms of their homes, people retreat from the blazing sun. These might be underground chambers or simply rooms with thick walls and small windows. The architecture itself is designed for comfort in this climate. Flat roofs that can be used for sleeping on hot nights, courtyards that create cool microclimates, and thick walls that store coolness from the night and release it slowly during the day. This is a time for quiet crafts and contemplation. Perhaps an elderly person tells stories to children, passing down legends and wisdom that have been preserved for generations. The stories might be about the gods and goddesses who protect the village, or about ancestors who lived in the same place long ago. Women might work on spinning, taking the processed flax and turning it into strong thread for weaving. The spindle twirls gently in experienced fingers, creating thread that is both beautiful and practical. This is meditative work, allowing the mind to wander while the hands stay busy with familiar motions. Some people use this quiet time for personal grooming and care. They might apply oils to protect their skin from the dry air, or arrange their hair with the help of family members. Beauty and cleanliness are important here, not from vanity but from a deep understanding that caring for oneself is part of caring for one's community and family. The village animals also seek shade during these hot hours. Cats curl up in cool shadows, cattle stand under palm trees, and even the chickens find spots where they can rest comfortably. The whole village seems to breathe more slowly, waiting for the heat to pass. As the sun begins its descent toward the western horizon, the village slowly comes back to life. The heat lessens, breezes stir, and people emerge from their shaded retreats to continue the day's activities. This is often a time for community tasks that require many hands. Perhaps the village well needs cleaning, or a neighbor's roof requires repair after a rare desert storm. People work together naturally without formal organization because they understand that everyone's well-being depends on cooperation and mutual support. Children help with age-appropriate tasks, learning skills they will need as adults. A young boy might help his father repair fishing nets, learning to tie the specific knots that will hold strong in the river current. A girl might help her mother prepare clay for pottery, learning to judge the right consistency by feel and understanding how different types of clay behave. The afternoon is also time for trade and commerce. Merchants might arrive from other villages, their donkeys loaded with goods not available locally. These might include exotic spices, fine jewelry, or tools made from metals that must be imported from distant lands. The trading is unhurried, accompanied by conversation and news from other places. Food preparation for the evening meal begins during these hours. Bread dough is mixed and shaped, ready for baking in outdoor ovens that have been heating since morning. Vegetables are chopped and prepared, perhaps onions and garlic that add flavor to simple meals, or herbs that grow in small gardens watered by hand. The sound of grinding grain becomes common as women prepare flour for bread. The grinding stones produce a rhythmic sound that carries across the village, mixing with the voices of people and the sounds of animals. It's a sound that speaks of nourishment and preparation, of taking care of family and community needs. As evening approaches, the village takes on a different character. The harsh light of day softens to a golden glow that makes everything look peaceful and welcoming. Cooking fires begin to appear, sending thin columns of smoke into the still air. The evening meal is the main meal of the day, prepared with care and shared with family. Bread is the foundation of every meal, often still warm from the oven and fragrant with the scent of grain and fire. It might be accompanied by beans or lentils cooked with onions and seasoned with herbs from small village gardens. Fish from the day's catch appears on many tables, grilled over small fires or cooked in clay pots with vegetables. The wealthy might have meat occasionally, perhaps duck from the river marshes or goat from small herds kept on the desert edge. But for most people, the diet is simple and healthy, based on grains, vegetables, and fish from the life-giving river. Beer is passed around in clay cups and everyone shares in the conversation of the day. People talk about their work, about neighbors and friends, about the level of the river and the progress of crops. Children listen and learn, absorbing the rhythms of adult conversation and community concern. After the meal, there might be simple entertainment. Someone might play a wooden flute, its notes soft and haunting in the evening air. Others might sing traditional songs that everyone knows, their voices blending together in harmonies that have been refined over generations. The evening is also time for teaching and learning. Older people share their knowledge with younger ones, how to read the signs that predict the river's flood, how to choose the best clay for pottery, how to weave patterns that will be both beautiful and strong. This knowledge is precious, passed down through families and preserved in memory rather than written records. As darkness settles over the village, the pace of life slows even further. Oil lamps provide gentle light in homes where people still have tasks to complete, but mostly the village prepares for rest. The sounds of evening are different from those of day, softer, more mysterious. You might hear the distant call of night birds along the river or the gentle lowing of cattle settling down for the night. Sometimes there's the sound of someone singing softly, perhaps a mother helping her children fall asleep with an ancient lullaby. People prepare for sleep with the same care they brought to their daytime activities. Sleeping mats are unrolled and arranged, perhaps with small cushions filled with sweet-smelling herbs. Light clothing is chosen for comfort during the warm night, and small oil lamps are positioned where they can provide light without being dangerous. Many people prefer to sleep on their rooftops during warm weather, where they can enjoy cooling breezes and look up at stars that shine more brightly here than almost anywhere on Earth. The desert air is clear and dry, making the night sky a spectacular display of light and mystery. Before sleep, there might be quiet prayers or expressions of gratitude for the day's blessings. People think about their families, their work, their community, and their place in the larger world. They express thanks for the river that gives life, for the soil that produces food, for the sun that provides warmth and light. Children fall asleep to the sound of their parents' voices, feeling safe and secure in homes that have sheltered families for generations. The rhythm of their breathing slows and deepens, matching the peaceful pulse of the village settling into rest. In the deep quiet of night, the village dreams. These are people whose lives are closely connected to natural rhythms, whose sleep follows patterns as old as humanity itself. Their dreams might be filled with images from their daily lives, the feel of clay in their hands, the sight of sails on the river, the taste of fresh bread and sweet dates. Sometimes the dreams carry deeper meanings, connecting the dreamer to the spiritual world that is never far from consciousness in this ancient place. They might dream of gods and goddesses who protect the village, or of ancestors who still seem present in family traditions and memories. The night passes peacefully, marked only by the gradual wheeling of stars across the clear desert sky. Guards might walk quietly through the village paths, checking that all is well, but mostly the hours pass in undisturbed rest. As dawn approaches, the eastern sky begins to lighten almost imperceptibly. The change comes gradually, the way all changes come in this timeless place. The air cools slightly, and early birds begin their songs. Perhaps a fisherman rises early to check his nets, or a baker starts her ovens for the day's bread. The cycle begins again, as it has for thousands of years and will for thousands more. The same sun rises over the same river. The same activities begin with the same unhurried care. There is comfort in this continuity, in being part of something larger and more enduring than any individual life. This is how people lived in ancient Egyptian villages, not in the shadow of great pyramids or in the courts of pharaohs, but in small communities where life moved at the pace of seasons and rivers, where everyone knew their neighbors, and where each day brought its own quiet satisfactions and gentle rhythms. And so we return from our peaceful journey to this ancient place, carrying with us the quiet wisdom of people who lived close to the earth and found contentment in simple things. Their lives remind us that happiness doesn't require complexity, that community and family can provide deep satisfaction, and that paying attention to natural rhythms can bring a sense of peace and belonging. As you settle into your own rest tonight, perhaps you can carry some of this peaceful ancient wisdom with you. Let your breathing slow like the gentle current of the Nile. Let your thoughts become as quiet as a village at rest. And let sleep come naturally, the way it came to those people so long ago who found such beauty in the simple rhythms of daily life. Sleep well and sweet dreams.